Hiya everyone, Auntie Lexi here. After finishing Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for review, I found myself in a bit of a crisis. I'd just played one of the best RPGs of the year, but its intense narrative and gameplay left me craving something lighter and more relaxing while still rooted in the genre. So I put together a list of RPGs that offer a gentler contrast to Clair Obscur. And since I'm probably not the only one feeling this way, I thought I'd share the list with you. If you enjoy RPGs that offer something a little different and want to see more lists like this, hit that subscribe button. It really helps support a community that loves discovery, cozy adventures, and so much more. If I had to choose one game that truly captures the warmth and wonder that I look for when I need something gentler, it would be Final Fantasy IX. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Really? A Final Fantasy game? And I get it. Most entries in the series are pretty serious, with dark undertones and brooding protagonists. And while Final Fantasy IX still has some of that, it's by far the warmest, most inviting title in the franchise. Where Final Fantasy VII and VIII pushed boundaries by blending contemporary and sci-fi elements with fantasy, IX chose to go back to basics with a more medieval look and feel. But it wasn't just about the setting. It brought in a sense of whimsy reminiscent of Ghibli films, creating a friendlier, more playful atmosphere. You see it right away in the softer, rounder character designs, perfectly suited to the party's animated personalities. Whether it's Steiner jumping up and down in a grumpy huff, or Vivi shyly adjusting his hat, you can feel the love and attention to detail that makes these characters so fun and endearing. And then there's the music. Nobuo Uematsu never disappoints, and Final Fantasy IX is no exception. The soundtrack doesn't just sound great. It beautifully complements the game's gentler, more nostalgic aesthetic. That's clear from the moment you hear A Place to Call Home on the title screen, a track that truly lives up to its name and fills you with a wistful sense of belonging. While Final Fantasy IX still tells a serious story with its share of dark moments, it's the overall atmosphere, the charming locales, the lovable cast, and the warm, heartfelt soundtrack that gives this game its uniquely comforting feel. And the best part? You don't have to wait for that rumored remake. The original is available on PS1 and PS3, and the remaster is ready to play on PS4, Xbox platforms, Nintendo Switch, and PC. While Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is deservedly the fan favorite for its sardonic wit and mischievous sense of humor, I feel it lost a bit of the coziness that defined the original. Not despite, but because of the Nintendo 64's limitations, the first Paper Mario has the cutest visuals in the series. The characters have a distinct, almost storybook look that later sequels smoothed over. No shade, of course. That's just a big part of why the original still holds a special place in my heart. The simple geometry of the environments, paired with those pixelated sprites, gives everything a quaint, charming vibe. Maybe that's nostalgia talking, but I genuinely love how games from that era looked, and Paper Mario tapped into something uniquely adorable. But it's not just about looking cute. The dialogue adds so much to the cozy vibe with its endearing humor. Whether it's Gumbario's playful commentary or Luigi acting like a scaredy cat, the writing never fails to put a smile on my face. And hey, isn't that what matters most? Paper Mario is playable on the original Nintendo 64 and via the Nintendo Switch online service. If any game captures the feeling of being under a warm blanket with a hot cup of chocolate, it's Ni no Kuni. Created in collaboration between Level 5 and the legendary Studio Ghibli, Ni no Kuni is a stunning game that fully embraces its pedigree, creating an experience that looks and feels just like a Ghibli film. And it doesn't just look the part. It sounds like one too, with the iconic Joe Hisaishi delivering a beautiful, memorable score. Like the best Ghibli films, Ni no Kuni radiates a gentle, inviting spirit through its distinct character designs, lush countryside backdrops, and soothing soundtrack, all present here in spades. In fact, maybe even more so, because while a Ghibli film lasts only a couple of hours, you can spend as much time as you like wandering Ni no Kuni's enchanting world, a place that feels warm, comforting, and full of wonder. Luckily, it's easy to visit. Ni no Kuni is available on PS3, PS4, Xbox platforms, Nintendo Switch, and PC. If there's one game that truly invites you to play at your own pace, it's Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. Now more than any other entry in the series, it gives you the freedom to farm, explore, and build connections without worrying about strict stamina systems or rigid schedules. Set against a backdrop of lush forests, peaceful villages, and a fantastical East Asian-inspired landscapes, Guardians of Azuma features a world that's easy to get lost in. Some reviewers have said that it leans more into action, but that only scratches the surface. What's really behind this shift is the freedom the game offers, a design that's clearly inspired by the popularity of Animal Crossing New Horizons, which showed how much players appreciate the chance to relax without constant limits. You can spend a day growing crops, rebuilding a village, or simply enjoying the company of the people you meet. It's entirely up to you. That sense of flexibility is what makes Guardians of Azuma such a comforting experience. Every part of the game invites you to settle in, take a breath, and enjoy the journey in whatever way feels right for you. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma is available on Switch platforms and PC. I just started this game a few weeks ago, but I already feel like it's worth mentioning because so many of you, and my friends too, have completely fallen in love with Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time. And as a longtime level 5 fan waiting what feels like forever for something new from them, all I can think of is, about damn time. The best way I can describe it is that it has the feel of Animal Crossing mixed with light RPG mechanics. And somehow it blends together beautifully. There's this fun class-based system where you can switch between different lives like Paladin, Miner, or Cook, and each one lets you approach the world in your own way. It's easy to just pop in and play, whether you want to gather materials, craft something useful, or head out and explore. And the story has this really interesting time travel hook that keeps things feeling fresh and a little mysterious. It's a game that invites you to take things at your own pace, and so far, I'm loving every minute of it. Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time, is available on PlayStation and Switch platforms, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Fire Emblem has always balanced its share of dark storytelling behind colorful anime-inspired visuals. But after the critical and fan success of Fire Emblem Three Houses, it would have been nearly impossible to follow up with something tonally similar, especially with the emotional highs and lows spread across its many routes. So instead, Nintendo and Intelligent Systems took things in the opposite direction with Fire Emblem Engage. While some players came in hoping for a story on par with Three Houses, many of Engage's supporters praise it for its sharp tactical gameplay, the highly anticipated return of its weapon triangle system, and its thoughtful map design, which is the best we've seen in a long time. The result is a game that feels both familiar and fresh at the same time. What's more, Engage wears its purpose on its sleeve. It might not have been officially marketed as an anniversary game, but with its vibrant art style and its emblem ring system, which brings heroes from across Fire Emblem's history into battle, It feels like a true celebration of the series. Every part of its design, from the clean, intuitive UI to the way it moves you quickly from story beats back into battle, shows a clear focus on letting players enjoy what Fire Emblem does best: fun, thoughtful tactical gameplay at your own pace. Fire Emblem Engage is available on Nintendo Switch. While Tri-Ace is best known for their sci-fi RPG series, Star Ocean, the one game among their other series and one-off titles that has always stood out to me is Radiata Stories. In many ways, it feels like the opposite of Star Ocean. Where that series leans into serious shonen anime-style storytelling, Radiata Stories is cute, fun, and often downright hilarious. In fact, the game wasn't originally going to have a main story at all. The developers just wanted to create a world where you'd get to know quirky characters and help them through side quests. And while I do enjoy the more traditional plot we ended up with, part of me wishes we'd gotten that unorthodox, character-driven version, because honestly, Radiata Stories shines brightest when you're doing exactly that. Much like Suikoden, the game encourages you to find and recruit tons of characters, not just to build the strongest party, but to get to know them and see what kind of wacky shenanigans unfold. And it's genuinely funny. You can go around kicking every NPC you meet just for, well, kicks, which leads to all sorts of unique scenarios, from starting fights, to stealing money, to even recruiting folks. Ultimately, what really cements Radiata Stories as cozy for me is the atmosphere. The visuals and soundtrack come together to create this wonderful sense of being in a silly little world filled with charming characters. Sure, the main story eventually takes a more serious turn, but most of the experience is about exploring a beautiful countryside and hanging out with lovable goofballs who make you wish the good times could last forever. Sadly, the only way to play Radiata Stories today is to track down a physical PS2 copy. I've always loved musicals growing up and never realized how fun it would be to see them incorporated in so many things. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer musical episode comes to mind. So when I heard about Rhapsody, a musical adventure, I thought, why wouldn't this work? And when I played the game, I was delighted to find a sweet, funny, and lighthearted little RPG that felt like reading one of those books that played music as you flipped its pages. You play as Cornette, a young puppeteer on a quest to rescue her prince, with full musical numbers sprinkled throughout that give the whole game a playful, whimsical vibe. It's the kind of game that feels like a refreshing break from heavier adventures. Playful, pure, simple, and fun. The combat is easy to grasp and breezy. Think of your puppets a bit like Pokemon. They join your team, help you out in battle, and give each fight its own little charm. And really, the magic is in the game's humor, heart, and the sheer joy of its fairy tale world. You can play Rhapsody, a musical adventure, now on Nintendo Switch and PC as part of Prinny Presents NIS Classics Volume 3. And for the first time, you can now finish the entire trilogy thanks to Rhapsody Marl Kingdom Chronicles, which I reviewed, by the way. Atelier Sophie 2, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream, feels like slipping into a world that's ready to welcome you with open arms. Even though it's a sequel, it's a wonderful place to start. The game offers a brief recap to help set the stage. It's thoughtful enough to catch you up, but careful not to give too much away if you'd rather discover things for yourself. Crafting is at the heart of every Atelier game, and in Sophie 2, it shines even brighter. It's a perfectly relaxing way to create useful items and gear, and the more you play, the easier it feels to make something truly special. battles flow smoothly and feel easy to grasp with thoughtful touches that make each encounter satisfying without ever feeling overwhelming. But it's the heart of Sophie 2 that stays with you the most. It's a story about friendship, family, and finding joy in the small moments, all brought to life with vibrant art and characters who feel like old friends. It's an Atelier game you can settle into, take your own pace, and simply enjoy. Atelier Sophie 2 is available on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PC. Before there was Trails Through Daybreak or Trails of Cold Steel, we had Trails in the Sky. And while the modern games are fantastic in their own right, I can't help but feel that there was a kind of magic in those older 2D titles that's been lost along the way. Looking back at Trails in the Sky, the game feels quaint and small in scope, and I mean that in the best possible way. Those qualities are exactly what give it its charm. Not every JRPG needs to be about world-ending catastrophes, and there's something special about humbler stories that focus on smaller personal conflicts but still leave a lasting impact. Despite originally releasing as a PC game in 2004, Trails in the Sky has the unmistakable look and feel of a late PS1 title, with chunky 3D environments and adorable 2D sprites. That visual style, combined with exploring the rural countryside, gives the game such a calming, peaceful atmosphere. Even during combat, unless it's some plot-critical boss fight, the vibe somehow stays chill and laid back, almost like magic. And that's perfect, because it lets the game focus on what matters most, the close bond between Estelle and Joshua. Like any JRPG, it has its serious emotional story beats. But when I think back on the experience, what sticks with me most is the sense of tranquility. It's a feeling I really hope the upcoming remake manages to capture. If you can't wait, Trails in the Sky is available now on PSP and PC. And that's my list of RPGs that offer something a little gentler, the kind of games you can get lost in and take comfort in whenever you need a break. But now, I'd love to hear from you. What games do you turn to when you want something warm, relaxing, or just a little different? Let me know in the comments. I always enjoy hearing your favorites and recommendations. If you believe in thoughtful content about JRPGs, indies, and niche games, and want to support a trans creator making space for this kind of work, join my Patreon at patreon.com/backlogbattle. Your support helps me keep sharing these stories and building a kind, inclusive community where we can all celebrate them together. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.